Security dragged Maya Williams across the marble lobby like a trespasser in a nightclub, her heels clicking with 4 steps, her leather briefcase clutched tight in one hand. Cameras were everywhere. Phone flashes stuttered like paparazzi strobes. Somewhere near the grand piano, a teenage girl whispered, "Is this real?" While live stream view counts ticked upward, 172, 346, 918. Maya said nothing. The crystal chandelier above threw rainbows across the polished floors of the Beverly Grand Hotel, a sanctuary of wealth, ego, and curated opulence. And yet here she was, dark-skinned, elegant, and out of place by every shallow metric this staff seemed to worship. Her navy blue tailored suit, the understated diamond studs, the Rolex glinting beneath her cuff. None of it mattered. She passed the brass nameplate on the wall behind the concierge desk, the name gleaming in ornate script, Williams Hospitality Group. The irony stung less than it should have. She'd built this empire stone by stone. But apparently, the gatekeepers had missed a memo. 2 security guards, big men in black blazers and Bluetooth earpieces, escorted her past a fountain where koi swam beneath rose petals. Guests stared. One man muttered, "She must have tried to sneak in." His wife, watching a live stream on her phone, said, "It says she owns the place." No way. At the front desk, Jessica, a 20-something blonde with too much eyeliner and too little humility, leaned against the counter, arms crossed, smirking like she'd already won. Problem solved, Jessica said smugly to the assistant manager standing beside her. "She's being removed." The man next to her, Richard Barnes, 45, thin hair slicked back like a TV villain, sniffed with satisfaction. "Thank God. We have a Forbes travel writer checking in later today. Can't afford disruptions like this." Maya's voice cut through the lobby like a piano note in silence. "Gentlemen," she said, calm and clear, "before you lay hands on me again, I strongly recommend you reconsider." One of the guards hesitated. Something in her tone, something in her eyes. But Richard waved them forward. "Escort her to the sidewalk. Now!" The guards resumed walking. Maya didn't resist. She walked with them, eyes forward, chin lifted. But inside, she was noting everything. Every face, every timestamp, every phrase. 10:41 a.m. She tapped it into her phone's voice memo app, disguised behind the briefcase flap. Attempted removal without verification. Front desk staff non-compliant. Staff refused ID. Her phone buzzed in her palm. "Assistant. Helicopter is ready on rooftop helipad. Board meeting in 79 minutes. Maya ignored it. The crowd thickened. A young black woman in a business suit whispered to her husband, "That's Maya Williams. That is her." But no one stepped forward. "Not yet," Jessica called out. "You'll want to leave before we involve the police. Just a heads up." Maya turned, her voice low, firm. "I presented valid credentials. Platinum Amex, Black Card, loyalty membership, and corporate ID. All refused without cause." Jessica rolled her eyes. "Fake. You can buy those online now." A murmur from the crowd. Someone said, "That card isn't fake. It's made of titanium." Viewers. 4672, 5203, 6004. The tension shifted. Then came the interruption that changed everything. A commanding voice from the mezzanine above. "Excuse me, what on earth is going on down there?" Heads turned upward. Descending the glass staircase was Judge Margaret Foster, black, silver-haired, early 60s, draped in a navy trench over a gray pantsuit that said both elegance and authority. "I've been watching the situation from above for 10 minutes, the judge continued as she descended. "I'm a federal district court judge, and I'm extremely concerned about what I'm witnessing." Patricia, the general manager, hadn't arrived yet. Richard suddenly looked as though someone had kicked the floor out from under him. "Ma'am," Richard stammered, "I assure you this is a private business matter. This woman has no reservation." Maya slowly turned. The camera phones caught it, her expression, her poise, her restraint. "Would you like me to display the reservation confirmation number?" she asked. Richard sputtered. Jessica snorted. "She's bluffing." Maya reached into her briefcase and pulled out a sleek leather wallet. From it, she drew a corporate ID card with a holographic overlay, the kind you don't forge, the kind made in labs. The crowd pushed closer. Viewers, 9, 208, 12, 990. Judge Foster walked calmly to Maya's side. I'd like to see that. Maya handed her the card. The judge studied it. Her eyebrows lifted just slightly. Richard, the judge said coldly, you might want to read this. He took the card, his lips moving as he read. Maya Elizabeth Williams, Chief Executive Officer, Williams Hospitality Group, Access Level, Founder/Owner. Jessica's mouth dropped open. Maya took back the card with a single motion. Would you like to continue removing me from my own property? The crowd was silent. From outside, the sound of police sirens could be heard faintly. Someone had called the authorities, probably Patricia or hotel security, out of protocol. But it no longer mattered. Maya walked back toward the front desk, alone now. The security guard stood frozen. The crowd parted. Her heels echoed off the marble floors. She turned to Jessica, whose face was now bright red. You told me I didn't belong here, that this wasn't shelter, that I looked lost. Jessica's mouth opened, but no words came. Maya looked up at the brass sign on the wall again. Williams Hospitality Group. I suggest you take 5 minutes, she said quietly. Log into your corporate email and open every message from the past 3 months. There are 17. Start with the subject line, new ownership transition, urgent. Richard blurted, Wait, that was you? Maya gave him a look like ice. A news crew burst through the doors. Microphones, cameras, boom poles. One reporter already had the live stream on her tablet and was narrating to the anchor. We're live at the Beverly Grand Hotel, where a shocking incident of apparent discrimination against the hotel's owner is unfolding. The viewer count broke 20,000. Maya reached into her briefcase one last time and held up a folder stamped in gold foil. Protocol 7, Legal Implementation Notice. This is no longer a misunderstanding, she said. It's documentation. Fade to black. If you're enjoying this story, please subscribe to support the channel. Maya stood in the middle of the lobby, the leather folder still raised in one hand. The cameras had found her now, not just smartphones, but broadcast cameras. A Channel 7 news anchor was already speaking into her mic, live from the Beverly Grand Hotel, where an incident involving the hotel's black female CO is unfolding before a growing crowd of guests, staff, and reporters. The phones turn into an ocean of red lights. 1,000 dots blinking back at Maya, like laser sights. And still, she stood, calm, collected, every inch of her posture deliberate. Across from her, Richard Barnes looked like he was staring into an avalanche he couldn't outrun. MMS Williams, he began, his voice cracking like dry wood. If this is really what it looks like. Maya cut him off without even raising her voice. What it looks like, Mr. Barnes, she said, is a textbook case of public discrimination by a hospitality professional with a documented history of bias complaints. She paused. 3, to be exact. 1 in 2019, 1 in 2021, and the most recent just 5 months ago. All still unresolved. She turned to the growing crowd, many of whom were now silent. My team aggregates internal HR data in real time, Maya continued. What happened here today isn't isolated. It's part of a pattern. Jessica, the front desk clerk, took a hesitant step back. I didn't know who you were, she whispered, her voice brittle. That's the problem, Maya said, because you thought you could treat someone this way, unless they were someone. That logic is exactly what we're going to dismantle, starting now. The lobby went quiet again. Even the koi in the fountain seemed to freeze. A man in a crisp Navy uniform entered through the glass doors. The police, finally responding to the call placed earlier. 2 officers trailed behind him. Ma'am, the lead officer began, walking toward Maya. We received a call about trespassing. Maya turned slowly to face them. My name is Maya Williams, she said, handing over her ID and corporate credentials in one smooth motion. I own this hotel. The officer scanned the documents, then looked up a bit sheepish. Apologies, Ms. Williams. We're not needed here. That's correct, Maya said. But I appreciate your professionalism. She turned back to Richard, who now looked like a man floating just above a trapdoor. Judge Foster stepped forward again, her voice calm but steely. Mr. Barnes, do you understand that I witnessed your conduct? In full, from a mezzanine balcony? Richard opened his mouth. No sound came out. The judge pressed on. You refused service, dismissed legal identification, mocked an Amex Centurion card, and attempted to have this woman forcibly removed. Do you think that reflects compliance with federal civil rights laws? I didn't know, Richard managed, and had she not been the owner. Judge Foster said, You proceeded with police involvement, correct? The silence was enough. Jessica tried again, her voice desperate. I didn't mean anything racist. I was just doing my job. She didn't look like what? Maya asked. Jessica froze. Maya didn't press her. She simply opened her phone, tapped a few times, and held it up. The screen showed a news article with her own face beneath the headline. Maya Williams, the visionary CEO behind America's most inclusive hotel empire. My photo has been featured on the cover of Fortune Incorporated and Fast Company, Maya said. We include executive leadership photos in the mandatory training documents. Those same documents were emailed to this hotel 3 months ago. Jessica looked sick. She glanced toward Richard for backup. None came. Behind the crowd, Patricia Henderson, the general manager, finally burst through the executive elevator doors. Her stilettos clicked as she power-walked toward the unfolding disaster. What the hell is going on here? Patricia snapped, scanning the crowd, the reporters, the cameras. Why is security? Oh, no. She spotted Maya. Her breath hitched. Ms. Williams, she said, as if trying to will this into a misunderstanding. I wasn't notified you were visiting this property today. That's correct, Maya replied coolly. This was a random audit, one of several across our chain this quarter. Patricia looked horrified. I never received any heads up. We would have. That's the point, Maya said. We don't give heads up when we're trying to observe authentic culture. A Channel 9 crew entered. The trending hashtags were now hashtag Williams Hotel and hashtag she owns it. On Twitter, Maya's name was number 2 in the nation, just behind breaking news of a White House briefing. Patricia's voice cracked. I assure you, this is all a misunderstanding. No, Maya said firmly. This is a case study. She turned to the crowd. Every single person in this lobby just watched a black woman be humiliated in the building she owns. And most of you only started caring once I revealed who I am. There were murmurs, guilty glances. The air felt like it had been sucked from the room. Imagine, Maya said, if I weren't the CEO, if I were just a guest, would anyone have stopped this? Would anyone have intervened? She looked toward the cameras now. This isn't just about me. It's about every traveler who's ever been judged before being greeted. It's about every young girl watching this live stream right now, wondering if her money or her name will ever be enough. There were tears in some eyes now. One young woman behind the concierge desk wiped her face silently. Maya turned back to Patricia. You've ignored 17 corporate emails from Williams Hospitality Group since the acquisition, most of them marked urgent. Among those messages, new discrimination policies, mandatory unconscious bias training, and detailed staff reforms. Patricia paled. I've been traveling. Maya raised a hand. It's irrelevant. You didn't read them. That was a choice. Her phone buzzed again. She answered, placing the call on speaker for all to hear. Ms. Williams, came the voice of her legal counsel, Sarah Martinez. The live instant feed is secure. Do you wish to authorize implementation of Protocol 7? Maya didn't blink. Yes, effective immediately. Sarah's voice was crisp. Understood. Staff notifications and termination. Reviews will begin within the hour. Legal filings in process. Board has been briefed. Patricia staggered back half a step. Wait, you're implementing now. Now, Maya said, locking eyes with her. Because this moment is no longer private. It's history. And everyone in this building is going to be part of it, whether they like it or not. The lobby erupted in camera flashes. Viewers, 37,000, 45,000, 52,000. Maya slipped the leather folder back into her briefcase and turned toward the elevators. Now, she said, let's take this conversation where it belongs. The elevator doors slid open. She stepped inside. The security guards, Judge Foster, 2 journalists, and Patricia followed, all too stunned to speak. The doors closed. Up to the boardroom. The elevator doors opened into a different world. Gone with the opulence of the Beverly Grand's marble and gold lobby. The penthouse boardroom was all sharp lines, steel edges, and glass walls overlooking Beverly Hills. The sky outside was slate gray, thick with June haze, and the silence inside was broken only by the mechanical hum of the ventilation system. Maya stepped in first. She didn't walk, she owned the space. Her leather briefcase clicked gently against her side. The news cameras were still rolling, and the security guards stationed themselves respectfully at the door now, no longer enforcers, now witnesses. The massive mahogany conference table gleamed like an altar. Around it were plush leather chairs, each costing more than the average employee's monthly rent. Patricia, Richard, and Jessica filed in behind her, visibly shaken. Judge Foster, the Channel 7 News anchor, and civil rights attorney Dr. Morrison all followed without invitation. No one dared speak. Maya placed her briefcase on the table, opened it, and pulled out a sleek black remote. With a click, the wall-mounted displays lit up. The Williams Hospitality Group logo appeared, followed by a digital dashboard of numbers, charts, and contracts. Without turning, Maya began. Before we address today's incident, let's establish a few baselines. The first slide, annual gross revenue, $2.1 billion. Net profit margin, 18.4%. Legal reserves for settlements, $122.7 million. Patricia coughed softly, adjusting her pearl necklace. The second slide loaded, staff performance compliance logs. Red bars stretched across the screen like open wounds. Over the past 18 months, Maya said, we've documented 847 internal reports of discrimination, racial profiling, or harassment across our 89 properties. Today's event brings us to 848. She clicked again. A map appeared, dotted in red. This property ranks third worst for guest satisfaction among underrepresented groups and second in incident severity. It's also the only property where 3 consecutive general managers failed to implement mandatory anti-discrimination training. Patricia looked like she was sinking into her chair. Richard tried to speak. Ms. Williams, if I may. You may not. Maya's voice was calm, but hit like a gavel. Mr. Barnes, your record includes 3 prior guest discrimination complaints. 2 resulted in warnings. 1 placed you on probation. Today's incident is your 4th. Per Section 4.7 of your employment contract, the morality clause, your position is now terminated, effective immediately. Richard sat frozen, the blood draining from his face. Maya tapped again. A scanned copy of his signed contract appeared on screen, the key section highlighted in red. Violation of anti-discrimination or guest dignity protocols results in immediate termination without severance or post-employment benefits. Security will escort you to collect your belongings, Maya said. You are no longer an employee of this company. One of the guards opened the door. Richard stood, mouth agape, but said nothing. What could he say? That he didn't mean it? That it wasn't personal? It no longer mattered. He walked out alone, the doors closing behind him with finality that echoed louder than a slam. Maya turned to Jessica next. Miss Patterson, you were hired 6 weeks ago following the dismissal of your predecessor, who was fired for exactly the same reason, discriminatory behavior at the front desk. Jessica's eyes widened. I didn't know that. That's the point. You didn't ask. Maya pulled up Jessica's onboarding documents. The screen showed training status, incomplete. Bias protocol assessment, not attempted. Executive staff profiles, not viewed. Our orientation materials include images of all executive leadership. Had you completed them, you would have recognized me in seconds. Instead, you judged me based on assumptions. Tears welled in Jessica's eyes. She looked no older than 25. Her voice cracked. I swear, I didn't know. Intent doesn't negate impact. Maya paused. You are still within your probationary period. Technically, I could terminate your employment with no reason, but I believe in course correction over punishment. She pulled a document from her briefcase, an enrollment confirmation. You will be receiving a full scholarship to a certified customer service and cultural sensitivity program through the Williams Foundation. Tuition, housing, and travel are covered. Jessica broke down in tears, nodding silently. You won't work for this property again, but I'm giving you a second chance, not because you deserve one, but because someone watching this story might. Maya turned her focus to Patricia. Now, Miss Henderson. Patricia tried to sit up straighter. Ms. Williams, if I may just explain. Your explanation has already been submitted, unread 17 times. Another slide, Patricia's email compliance log. 17 unopened messages, 12 marked urgent, 3 flagged for mandatory legal acknowledgement, none opened, none responded to. You were notified of new ownership, of Protocol 7, of the new diversity audits, guest dignity clauses, and quarterly culture reviews. You ignored all of it. Patricia went pale. Your annual salary is $185,000. Your property generates $3.7 million in revenue, and you couldn't be bothered to open an email from your new employer. Another slide. Today's estimated legal liability from this incident, $200,000 to $500,000, not including punitive damages or class action exposure. You've not only failed to uphold company standards, you've created a $500,000 liability in 30 minutes. Patricia whispered, I didn't mean... Intent, Maya repeated, does not negate impact. Then Maya turned to face the cameras. To everyone watching, this is what accountability looks like. It's not about vengeance. It's about ensuring that discrimination becomes incompatible with business success. She clicked once more. Immediate action plan appeared on screen. Mandatory unconscious bias training for all customer-facing staff within 30 days. Williams Welcome App for anonymous guest/staff discrimination reporting. Launches next week. Monthly third-party diversity audits with public reporting. Profit-sharing bonuses linked to guest satisfaction across race, gender, and accessibility categories. Judge Foster leaned in, visibly moved. Ms. Williams, this is revolutionary. It's overdue. Dr. Morrison added quietly, the DOJ Civil Rights Division will want this framework. Maya nodded. I'm already scheduled to brief them next month. The room sat in stunned silence. The hotel had not just been caught in a scandal. It had become a case study. The cameras zoomed in. To my staff watching this in real time, Maya said, you have 24 hours to complete all overdue training modules and sign the Guest Dignity Pledge. Non-compliance will result in termination. She closed her briefcase. The final click was the only sound in the room. This is how we change an industry, not with hashtags, but with systems. Systems that hold people accountable not for who they thought someone was, but for how they chose to treat them. The cameras followed her as she turned toward the windows. Outside, the skies had begun to clear. The next morning, the Beverly Grand felt different. The same chandeliers still hung. The koi still glided through the marble fountains. But there was something in the air now, not tension, not silence, but awareness. Every conversation in the halls lowered to a murmur when Maya Williams passed. At exactly 9 a.m., the entire hotel staff, from bellhops to back office, assembled in the second-floor conference suite, now retrofitted with folding chairs, a podium, and 4 large monitors linked to a corporate video feed. Maya walked in alone. No entourage, no lawyers. Just her navy blue suit, her briefcase, and that same measured expression. Equal parts elegance and edge. A low hum of whispers rippled through the room. Some people avoided eye contact. Others couldn't stop staring. The news of the incident had already gone global. CNN, MSNBC, BBC, hashtags like hashtag she owns it, hashtag Williams Protocol, and hashtag bias is bad business had been trending for 18 hours straight. Over 3 million people had watched the live stream or the recap reels. Entire HR departments across the country were emailing their executives. We need to talk about this. Maya stepped to the podium. Good morning. Let's begin. No greeting. No icebreaker. Just immediate gravity. Some of you might still think yesterday was an overreaction. You may believe what happened to me could have been resolved with a quiet apology or a private settlement. She paused, scanning the room. Many eyes dropped. But it wasn't about me. That's the entire point. If I had been anyone else, if I hadn't pulled out that corporate ID or answered that call from legal, I had been escorted off this property and forgotten by the end of the hour. And everyone here would have gone back to business as usual. Silence. She tapped the tablet on the podium. The screen behind her lit up. Williams Hospitality Group. Post-incident implementation plan. This is what we're doing instead. First slide. 1. Mandatory unconscious bias training. Every customer-facing employee at this property, and at all 89 of our hotels, is required to complete our new training within 30 days. Completion is non-negotiable. Your continued employment depends on it. The screen showed a portal interface, bright colors, simple modules, interactive guest scenarios, none of the dry, checkbox training most companies used. Second slide. 2. The Williams Welcome App. Starting today, guests and employees can report discrimination or disrespectful treatment anonymously through our app. Every report triggers an immediate HR review. Multiple reports flag a pattern. Gasps from the audience. Some employees shifted uncomfortably. Others nodded quietly in approval. You don't have to film abuse to get justice anymore. We built the system for you. Third slide. 3. Monthly diversity audits. We're partnering with third-party firms to audit how guests are treated by race, gender, accent, disability, and more. The results will be published quarterly and tied to your team's bonuses. That got attention. Maya stepped back from the screen. Let me be clear. We're not doing this for PR. We're doing it because this hotel industry has failed to police itself. We created glamour without equity and luxury without humanity. That ends now. She glanced toward the front row. 3 seats were empty: Patricia Henderson's, Richard Barnes, and Jessica Patterson's. As of this morning, Patricia has submitted her resignation, citing management failure and personal accountability. Her letter includes a public apology and her intent to enroll in long-overdue bias education. A murmur moved through the room. Mr. Barnes was terminated for cause and will not be eligible for rehiring at any affiliated property. Miss Patterson, while dismissed, has been granted full tuition and housing to attend a certified cultural competency program. That was not for her. That was for everyone watching who's made a mistake and is ready to unlearn. Maya tapped again. Slide 4. Profit-sharing metrics. For the first time in this industry, staff bonuses will be linked directly to guest satisfaction across race and gender demographics. If underrepresented guests rate our property highly, everyone wins. Literally. This landed. People looked at each other. Some smiled. Others whispered, "Wait, really?" Maya nodded once. Hospitality starts with dignity. We're making dignity profitable. A hand went up in the back. It was Luis, one of the overnight custodians. Middle-aged, quiet, always early. He stood, nervous. "Ms. Williams," he said, "my daughter, she's 13. She watched your video last night. She asked me if all hotels were like this, and if I had ever been treated that way." His voice broke. I told her no, because I work for you now. Maya's expression softened. It was the first moment she let anything break through that precise exterior. "Thank you, Luis. That's exactly why we're doing this." After the meeting, Maya moved to the lobby, where media crews were waiting. Cameras clicked. Boom mics extended. Everyone wanted a soundbite, a headline, a quote. She gave them more. Standing beneath the gold-plated name of Williams Hospitality Group, she spoke into the storm of questions. Yesterday was a flashpoint, but change doesn't come from flash. It comes from follow-through. We didn't just fire people. We built systems. We didn't just go viral. We went structural. That's how you create real, measurable equity. She held up the Williams Welcome app on her phone. This app has been downloaded 50,000 times in 24 hours. Other hotels are already reaching out to license it. That means the culture is shifting, not because of outrage, but because of infrastructure. A reporter shouted, "Ms. Williams, what would you say to other CEOs facing similar scandals?" Maya didn't hesitate. Don't defend. Design better systems. Don't wait for a lawsuit. Build a culture where lawsuits aren't necessary. Don't wait to get caught. Change before you break someone. By 5 p.m., the numbers were in. Bookings at the Beverly Grand had increased by 37% in 24 hours. The Williams Welcome app topped the App Store's social impact category. Staff members at other Williams properties began holding voluntary listening circles. The hashtag Dignity by Design was now trending worldwide. A letter from Howard University School of Business confirmed a new partnership to develop the first hospitality-focused bias prevention curriculum, funded by the Williams Foundation. That night, Maya sat in the rooftop lounge, watching the city blink below. Her phone buzzed. "Board Chairman, Chin, we're proud of you. Do you need anything?" She typed back, "No, but the industry does." Across the skyline, digital billboards began flashing her face. Not with branding, but with a simple message beneath it. True hospitality starts with humanity. And below that, hashtag she owns it. 6 months later, the auditorium at Harvard Business School was packed. Students, faculty, CEOs, policymakers, and nonprofit leaders filled every tiered seat. There was no music, no frills, just a single spotlight on the stage where one chair and one podium stood waiting. The backdrop was simple white. Projected on it, in minimalist black letters, "Case Study, the Williams Protocol." A hush fell over the room. Then Maya Williams walked onto stage. She was dressed not in her signature navy suit, but in deep charcoal, with a silver pin, the logo of the Williams Hospitality Group, on her lapel. She didn't carry a briefcase this time. She didn't need to. The room stood in applause before she even reached the podium. She waited for the silence to return. Then she began. "I was dragged across the marble floor of a hotel I owned, while cameras rolled and people watched. No slides yet, no data, just her voice. That humiliation went viral. But it wasn't the moment I was most proud of. What followed is..." She tapped the remote. The screen behind her lit up with the first statistic. Discrimination complaints across WHG properties, 94%. Employee satisfaction, 51%. Underrepresented guest satisfaction, 63%. "We didn't fix this through PR statements or payouts," Maya said. "We fixed it by building systems where dignity wasn't optional, where your humanity was coded into the culture." Slide 2 appeared. Profit sharing tied to inclusivity metrics. $2.3 million distributed to staff in 6 months. The crowd murmured. A few gasped. "Treating people fairly isn't just moral. It's profitable," she continued. "The hospitality industry used to think inclusivity was a side project. We made it a business strategy." Slide 3. Williams Welcome app, 1.2 million downloads. Adopted by, for major hotel chains, 12 airports, 31 retail brands. Every guest deserved the power to be heard, without needing a million followers. That's what the app does. It's anonymous, real-time, actionable. Slide 4. Partnerships. Howard University Bias Prevention Curriculum. Southern Poverty Law Center Hospitality Audit Framework. NAACP Executive Pathways Program. Department of Justice Voluntary Compliance Initiative. Maya looked up at the crowd. Her voice softened. "We turned outrage into infrastructure. And in doing so, we made it impossible to ignore the human cost of indifference." She paused. "Here's what didn't happen. I didn't sue. I didn't scream. I didn't fire everyone in a headline-making purge. Because none of that changes the next guest experience." Slide 5. Hospitality Reform Bill introduced in Congress. Citing Williams Hospitality Group as model case, a reporter in the crowd lowered her phone, visibly stunned. Maya continued, "This story isn't about punishment. It's about prevention. It's about dignity not being a VIP benefit. But the default, she tapped once more. Final slide, a short video montage. No sound, just images. A front desk clerk helping a guest in a wheelchair, smiling. A Muslim couple checking into a suite and being greeted in Arabic. A non-binary staff member with a visible name badge that says they slashed them, laughing with a guest. A teenage girl watching the hashtag she owns a video on a tablet, eyes wide with wonder. A hotel training session in progress, with the header, Williams Protocol, Week 1 on the screen. A check being handed to a line cook in Atlanta, part of the profit-sharing program, his eyes welling with tears. And finally, Maya, 6 months ago, standing in the lobby as the brass sign behind her glinted. Williams Hospitality Group. When the video ended, the room was silent again. Maya looked across the audience, all the suits, the screens, the notepads, the future leaders, and delivered her final message. Real power isn't loud. It doesn't throw things or threaten lawsuits. Real power builds systems so strong they make injustice impossible, not just punishable. A single spotlight hit her face. If you're a CEO, ask yourself this. Would your company protect a guest like me before you knew who I was? She let the question sit. And if the answer is no, don't fire your staff. Fix your systems. A pause. I don't want to be the exception. I want to be the last time this happens. And the first time we made sure it couldn't happen again, she closed her speech with a simple statement. Dignity is not a perk. It's a foundation. And if your business can't stand on that, it shouldn't stand at all. The standing ovation lasted 3 minutes. The aftermath, global ripples. The following week, the Harvard Business Review published her entire address under the headline, Dignity by Design, How One CEO Rewired an Industry. The UN invited Maya to speak at the General Assembly on Systemic Discrimination Prevention in Global Commerce. Her speech that was translated into 32 languages. Investor confidence surged. WHG stock climbed 18% in 1 quarter. Hotels across Asia, Europe, and Africa began consulting with the Williams Foundation. Within a year, more than 100 international properties adopted the Williams Protocol. Social media didn't just echo the movement. It evolved with it. The hashtag She Owns It tag transformed into hashtag We Own It, as guests of all backgrounds began documenting improved experiences. They weren't filming incidents anymore. They were filming accountability. Back at the Beverly Grand, the lobby had changed. Same chandelier, same koi. But now, every desk had a tablet with the Williams Welcome app. Every clerk had a badge with their preferred pronouns. Every elevator had a poster. Dignity is our brand. Every guest. Every time. And every week, Maya received emails. Some from guests. Some from staff. Some from strangers. One, from a hotel trainee in Ohio, read, I used to think I didn't belong in spaces like this. Then I saw your story. Now I'm training to be a GM. Another, from a retired doorman in New York, said, We never had a system. Now we do. Thank you. Back in her office, Maya sat by the window, watching the city move below. She held a note, handwritten, folded once. It was from Jessica Patterson. I finished the course. I'm working at a local nonprofit now, helping train front desk workers how to spot bias. I've learned more in 6 months than I did in my entire life. Thank you for not giving up on me. Maya placed a note in a file labeled Reforms, Personal Impact, and closed it gently. She didn't smile. She didn't cry. She just whispered, This is what change looks like. And then, with steady hands, she turned to her computer and began drafting the next version of the protocol. Not for hotels, but for schools. Because discrimination doesn't clock out, and neither would she. If you like this story, please subscribe to support this channel.